Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to the campaign trail. Now, last time we were here together, we hopped into the governorship, or the presidency of one Mario Cuomo, and alongside our trusty King of the Hill co-star, Ann Richards, we went ahead and whooped both Bill Weld and Pat Buchanan, and won in a landslide that I don't think has been seen in quite a while. So, we are going to change things up a little bit. You might be noticing, wait a minute, this is an upload on a Saturday. What are you doing? Well, today or tomorrow, depending on when I decide to upload this, is the day the California primary elections for governor are going on. And it is very well possible that if I don't make this video either now or tomorrow, this will never be relevant ever again. We are, one of the candidates running right now is one Mr. Tom Steyer, billionaire who some people have said have bought his way into this election. Also tried to buy his way into the 2020 election. Both are objectively true. He's currently polling anywhere from second to third place, and there's a very real possibility that he will become the next governor of my home state of California. And considering the other two options are a generic corporate suit who's bought by PG&E, and a British man, both of which are obviously disqualifying. I know who I voted for, and, I'm not going to make any endorsements because I don't think people care about that. Well, half of you probably don't care. Knowing this community, half of you care too much. But, yeah. If you are in California and you haven't voted yet, this is your friendly reminder to go out and vote. Do your democratic duty. And yeah, in the meanwhile, I'm going to be hopping in and playing this mod right here. Actions speak louder than words. This is a 2020 mod taking on the idea of what if Tom Steyer managed to buy his way into this election, the 2020 election, successfully. Well, let's give it a gander. When Donald Trump upset Hillary Clinton in 2016 as an outsider businessman, it broke the political world. So much so that even after 4 years of a chaotic presidency marked by Trump's obvious political amateurishness, the Democratic Party has decided that the 2020 contest will be one billionaire against another. Former hedge fund manager and philanthropist Tom Steyer has been engaged in liberal political activism for years, supporting liberal political causes and running for in environmental activism. No one expected that this man, who had never even run for political office, would win the Democratic nomination. And yet, in a shocking victory in South Carolina propelled him towards victory, and Steyer finds himself somewhat of a political anomaly. Steyer is a billionaire businessman, distrusted by the left, and yet his record and messaging suggests he's an anti-billionaire progressive who admires Bernie Sanders. I didn't remember much of Steyer until, he popped back up into my ad feed, and then all the other anti-Steyer ads bought by all the shittiest corporate interests in California. The one thing I remember is him saying, I want to say hi, Bernie. Bernie's like, yeah, okay, fine. But whatever he is, he must form a clear identity for himself and unite the fragile Democratic coalition while battling Trump, who outshines him on every front. The pundits say 2020 is a favorable year for the Democrats, but will that still be the case with a milquetoast unknown like Steyer leading the party? Can Steyer's actions speak louder than words? Is that a problem to the presidency? Scenarios made by Helios. Both help from Les Spoon. I don't know. Let's give this a gander. You are Tom Steyer. Your elite and privileged background says he should be some out-of-touch centrist. Your billionaire status and history as a hedge fund manager suggests you should be a Republican. And yet here you are, a firm liberal and environmental activist who somehow dislikes other billionaires and fawns over Bernie Sanders. No one knows how you got here. Frankly, you can't believe it either. But you've beaten your rivals and now stand as the Democratic nominee for president. And it's your job now to use your fortunes to defeat Donald Trump, the billionaire who uses his wealth and status to do evil. Your path won't be easy. Progressives don't quite trust you, and most of the public still doesn't really know who you are. Now you have to solidify your identity. Are you a progressive, a liberal, a centrist? During the primaries, you could be anything the voters wanted, but now you need to solidify your identity. You've got your work cut out for you, but you have the good vibes and a strong work ethic. Maybe that's all the people who will want when the alternative is the chaos of Donald Trump. Come on, Tom, let's get to work. I am going to go for... There are a lot of VPs, a ridiculous amount, I'd argue. We'll hop in with Miss Tammy Baldwin. Senator Tammy Baldwin seems to be the natural choice for your running mate. You're an establishment-aligned billionaire, and she's a progressive with working-class roots. She's affable, a record of winning in a purple swing state, and most importantly, Bernie likes her. You have obvious weaknesses with working-class voters, white working-class voters, and Baldwin will do wonders to bridge that gap and help with suburban female voters, too. Although she's not black like many people hoped your running mate would be post-George Floyd, even though this is pre-George Floyd. Is it pre-George Floyd? I forget what all the timing was. 2020 was such a fucking blur, I forget. She is a lesbian, which would obviously make her a historic choice on another front. Damn, it would be a perfect running mate for you on all fronts, but be aware that Trump will make some disgusting attacks towards her using her sexuality, so just be ready for that. We're going to hop in. I'm going to be lowering the difficulty, because I will explain why shortly. We're going to be playing on very easy, not that it's particularly hard to win, but I think it's harder than the mod maker intended, and if they did intend it this way, I have some questions about how they decided to do it. I'll demonstrate when we get further in, but let's go ahead and hop on in. So this is a starting map. We have, for the issues, we have overall, which I guess is just the overall political leanings, economics, healthcare, foreign policy, and social issues. Cool. All right. Okay. So these aren't the starting margins on normal mode. Your mileage will vary, but these are the ones we're starting off with today. So July 9th, 2019. Okay? You finally decide to run for president. You need to get your message out there, and you're going to do it with a video announcement. What's your message going to be? Well, it's the economy's stupid. I'm a successful businessman and know a lot about the economy. Let's stick to the bread and butter issues that the people really care about. This works surprisingly well. Some people might say you're too rich to actually know about working class issues, but a focus on the economy never hurt anyone. Well, there we go. February 29th. Congratulations, Tom. Your strategy of going all in on South Carolina worked, and you managed to relegate Joe Biden to third place. Now Super Tuesday is approaching, so what will your strategy be? Well, here's a unique idea. Why don't we try to pretend that we're the nominee already and build the broadest coalition possible? Spend time in those small flyover states and get our name out there. This is an interesting strategy, but it works surprisingly well. You do well in these smaller states by pretty sizable margins. The people actually become convinced that you're the overwhelming frontrunner just based on the number of states you win. Well, there we go. Where do we want to go to? I think naturally you will end up flipping these states out here just for the nature of the difficulty. So we could do Kansas. I think we'll be okay. Utah, Montana. Alabama seems oddly close to being able to flip. That would be kind of funny. Okay, let's go to Alabama. Why not? June 29th, 2020. Bernie Sanders, your chief rival for the nomination, has just called to tell you that he's dropping out of a race after losing the New York primary, making you the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party. What kind of strategy do you want to take on heading into the general election? Well, the party's divided after that long primary. Let's spend some time campaigning in key swing states with some of our primary opponents to make sure we win. Give us trail with a rotating cast of opponents every few days. Sanders, Buttigieg, and Warren 1 week, Biden, Booker, and O'Rourke the next, and so on. Their old supporters slowly begin to warm up to you more as you paddle around with their favorite candidates, although you make a point to avoid Williamson and don't even call Gravel. So I want to take a moment to introduce you all the main issue I have with this mod. We're going to hop into the benefit checker, and you'll notice these very, very small increases. If you end up going for, most mods have a 0.04 or so on or so forth for these margins. Keep that in mind. A lot of these questions are going to be like this, right? Then we'll regroup right at the end to go over the issue I've found. An attempt to appeal to the progressive wing of the party, you've made the choice of Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin for your running mate. What made you choose her? Well, my administration will be dedicated for fighting for working class issues, and Tammy's been a leader on those issues representing Wisconsin. She'll be my point woman on labor and the economy. This does the job to bridge the gap with most progressives. Tammy is relatively well received by everyone, especially in Wisconsin, and Bernie even calls you to say you made a good choice. In the end, that's all that mattered to you. Hi, Bernie. Anywho, to Alabama we go. Well, it is time for the DNC. Unfortunately, due to COVID, the DNC's been moved completely virtual. Still, you have to choose someone to give the keynote's address and set the tone for your campaign. Who's it going to be? Well, Trump's abhorrent, neglectful response to COVID needs to be the centerpiece. Let's get Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. She comes from a swing state and has been a model example of a leader during this crisis. Gretchen Whitmer gets the blood pumping. She's young, energetic, attractive, and people have a lot of trust in her, and you might have even picked her as VP if she didn't decline to keep governing. She could possibly be a senator someday, maybe something higher. Well, I think she just declared she's not running for president, so we know how well that's going. Anywho. It's time to live stream your acceptance speech. Your wife, Kat, and brother Jim introduce you as you stand behind a podium wearing your trademark plaid tie. I don't have the same tie. I have a similar one, though. Is this trademark really a tie? I mean, it's not really interesting otherwise, to be fair. It is a nice style, I'll give him that. What will your message be to the millions of Americans watching from across the country? Donald Trump has spent the last 4 years flagrantly breaking the law and violating the Constitution. We might not have been able to impeach him a year ago, but this time we'll get him out of office for good. Your blood seems to boil as more and more words blasted out of your mouth. Everyone from the center to the left is roaring. You've got their blood pumping. In retrospect, did you really say anything new? No. But for that single moment, America in its rage is behind you for once. Here we go. Let's head over to Alabama, just because I think it would be very funny to flip it. I don't know why the margins are like that. It's somehow bluer than Mississippi, which should not be the case, even remotely. The biggest criticism you received during the primary is that you're just another Donald Trump. That your lack of political experience will lead you to crash and fail when things get tough. How do you want to address these attacks? Well, I'm going to make sure I'm surrounded by experts to help me lead. I'm thinking William Burns at State, Liz Warren at Treasury, and Doug Jones at Justice, among others. Trust me, I will only take advice from the best and the brightest. Giving the American people some idea of what your cabinet will look like is certainly reassuring as you assemble your dream team. The GOP will always treat even the most qualified Democrats as a Legion of Doom. Well, your claim to fame on the political stage was your ardent push for Trump impeachment as the president of the need to impeach campaign. How much do you want to address your work in the area? Again, pop up another example just to get things right. Also, this has no effect on things, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Hell yeah, we're going to talk about it. The man is unfit to be president, for God's sake. Let's get a couple impeachment managers like Schiff, Jeffries, maybe Demings too, and film some nice ads with them. The base loves it, especially the ever-present wine moms. Trump is making a big stink about it, though, and some say that impeachment is a dead issue. Maybe he should start selling bumper stickers that say lock him up. That'll really get under his skin. Well, to Alabama we go. Let's address the elephant in the room, COVID-19. Many Americans are dead, and most of the country has been in lockdown mode, with the exception of some red states. You've decided to take a mixed approach of doing smaller distance rallies as well as drive-in events. What exactly is your approach to public health? Well, first off, we need to follow the science and Dr. Fauci's advice when it comes to the pandemic. But most importantly, we've got to expand Obamacare and finally get that public option in there, like we promised in 2008. Most Americans rely on Obamacare, whether they want to admit it or not. The promise to expand has been a Democratic rallying cry for years. The only people who don't trust the science might not live until Election Day anyway. The BLM protests continue to swarm the nation and some have developed into full-blown riots. Trump has taken the especially tough stance against them, while your campaign has been somewhat silent, even though the black vote helped carry you to the nomination. How will you address the issues of race in this country? Well, what people need right now is a leader who can actually feel and show empathy. I hear your pain. I hear your concerns. This was a disgusting abuse of force, and although we still not fulfilled the promise of the Declaration of Independence, I will hear from your leaders and fight for real change. This speech actually goes on quite well, and people are generally heartened by your obvious empathy at play here. Reverend Jesse Jackson even gives you a call and says he's glad to endorse you all, though he hopes to see some more concrete policy on this in the future. Alright, well, we're doing pretty well in the South now. To Alabama we go. You're very well known for your environmental advocacy. Your early primary campaign was focused heavily on around climate change, and it's one of a handful of issues that progressives genuinely trust you on. Do you want to make your climate policy clear for the general election? It's our one chance to really impress Bernie. Let's get AOC and Ed Markey up on stage with us and loudly demand Congress pass the Green New Deal. I know they won't pass it, but public pressure is better than nothing. Oh, this is a little awkward. You siding with the Green New Deal actually gets progressives to take interest in your campaign. Some moderates feel like you're alienating them, but given that they at least agree that climate change is important, they'll still vote for you to stop Trump for the most part. On top of this, many people are actually reading the GND policies and find themselves agreeing with parts of it. Bernie is proud. Well, look at that. How are we doing EV-wise? We are doing quite well. Policy area you're considered to be somewhat weak on is foreign policy, and you haven't focused much on it. What do you want to be the defining foreign policy goal of your administration? Well, how about keeping it simple with general good vibes to our approach? Trump alienated and antagonized a lot of allies for no reason with his personality, so I'll position myself as a nice guy that's easy to work with. Do you think we can meet with some of the world leaders who've been supportive of us? You take a quick trip across key countries, meeting with Tony Blair, David Cameron, Brian Mulroney, Vicente Fox, Kevin Rudd, Malcolm Trumbull, and Donald Tusk, among others. None of which I think are actually in government at this time. Maybe Trumbull is. Finding a surprisingly close connection to the outgoing governor of the Bank of England, who you would think would make a great partner on the world stage. Compared to the clear annoyance they showed with Trump, you actually look like a respected equal next to them. Well, to Alabama we go. You're a businessman, so obviously people are going to want to know about your economic policy, given the economy has been struggling a bit thanks to COVID. What's going to be your economic focus over the next 4 years? Well, what we should be doing is focusing on the current economic impacts of the pandemic on the people. We need to push for a greater economic stimulus and $2,000 for every American. That's just what the American people need. Republicans complain about big government spending as usual, but it's hard for them to complain too much when even Trump supports some version of stimulus. Not like you were going to get them to vote for you anyway. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg recently passed away despite McConnell's excuses for blocking Garland's nomination in 2016. The Republican Senate decided to push through Amy Coney Barrett onto the court, Trump's second stolen judge. What are your thoughts on this move? Well, that's the last straw. I can't accept the damn Republicans stealing yet another Supreme Court justice. Let's loudly and aggressively invoke FDR's attempt to back the courts. Can play that game. Well, I forgot, Tom. The liberals and progressives are eating this up, but just as the great FDR himself was accused of, people calling you an authoritarian. Is this a really good choice? The map implies so. To Alabama we go. You happen to have some extra time on your hands, and some of your advisors think you might be able to win some voters in traditionally red states, given your more unique background as a candidate. What states do you want to visit? I'll pop open the benefit tracker. First off, I don't think it's supposed to look like this. I don't know why the margins are so low in Texas and Indiana. It's so high in Utah. Relatively higher in Kansas. I guess let's go to Kansas. Why now? Kansas just elected Laura Kelly as a governor in 2018. Maybe that bipartisan opposition to Brown back a while ago will translate over to Trump. To something to flower state, we go. Unexpectedly, through your tour through the state, you end up running into Bob Dole. You fear being like him and other forgotten candidates sent into the meat grinder of history. The two of you share a surprisingly warm moment despite his ardent support for Trump. Later that day, he calls you a nice man. Trump insults him on Twitter, calling him a fake hero. The insult is news for a day before it's cast into the wind. Like the Kansas song, Dust in the Wind. Dust in the wind. I'm going to stop singing. I'm going to save you guys the pain. If I was thinking in the aftermath of your big red state visit, this would be a great time to reach out to one of your allies to campaign with them. Who do you want to be campaigning alongside you? Well, we didn't get John Kasich's endorsement for nothing. He'll definitely help us out in Ohio, but traditionally red states like Indiana and Utah could be in reach with his help too. Highlight bipartisan cooperation and such. You make the rounds with Kasich in Ohio. He's still received quite well as their popular former governor, but you do notice that in some of the more rural areas that he used to do well in are less welcoming to him. Between campaign stops, Kasich keeps giving you policy proposals for the Commerce Department, clearly hoping to run it in your administration. Yeah. Okay, sure. Could do Kansas. Let's work on Kansas. Time has finally come for the first presidential debate at the Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio, with Chris Wallace moderating. This is your chance to make your mark. What will be your strategy going in? Well, people don't see me as a strong leader, so I've got to go in guns blazing. Every time Trump says something stupid, we'll have to be even louder and call him out for it. Clearly, the American people want entertainment, so we'll give it to them. Well, everyone agreed the debates were a disaster. Neither of you came off as presidential, but most voters polled actually seemed to like some of your attacks on Trump. What only got clipped most was when he smirked and said, "The only number you measure bigger than me in is the number of bankruptcies." Ayo. It's not a killer line, but I guess it'll do. Just a few days after the presidential debates in a super spreader event, it's been revealed that Trump has been tested positive for COVID-19. He's now been hospitalized due to it. How do you want to respond? Well, that's hilarious. To act like COVID wasn't an issue, now he's suffering from it. Obviously, we don't want to gloat or anything, but we can definitely take some subtle jabs about how his leadership left to this. Again, I'm going to throw up the benefit tracker. Very generic stuff here. Also, I think this is, I don't know why there's a negative 0.001 and then a positive 0.003 for us. That doesn't really make much sense, but I think this is the net best option. Republicans get enraged and call you unpresidential for taking advantage of Trump's sickness, as if they've cared about unpresidential behavior for the last 4 years. But your surprisingly snarky comments about not hoping he injects bleach into his veins actually seem to make you more popular. Well, there we go. Kansas, here we come. Your running mate Tammy Baldwin's been hard at work swinging the Midwest over to your side. Unfortunately, she's been hit by some pretty disgusting ads by PACs implying that she can't be trusted around female interns. The VP debate coming up, what will Tammy's strategy be? Well, she wants to speak directly about this, so let her. Whom I control what she says about an issue so personal to her. Tammy is the star of the show. She plows over Pence, who's as stiff as ever. She shames him in the GOP for dragging a relationship into this, and the whole time Pence is stuck with his condescending half smirk on his face. She asked him if Trump could be trusted around female interns. Pence doesn't have an answer. Well, there we go. The second presidential debate has had some trouble becoming organized after the chaos of the first debate. Trump has refused to get tested for COVID after getting over it the first time. There's a strong likelihood it falls apart. You want to push for the debate anyway. Can't we make it virtual? Make sure debate is actually held, but also keep everyone safe. I'm sure that's a fair compromise. Trump refuses to have a virtual debate, arguing that you're going to rig it somehow virtually. Do you end up holding dueling town halls at the same time? More people watch your town hall. You actually manage to come off quite folksy and personable, while Trump argued with one of the audience members for some reason. Oh, it's beautiful. Alabama, here we come. You've given some broad policy ideas so far, but no one still quite knows what your main agenda will be. What exactly will your first 100 days be in the office? Well, I've talked a lot about restricting the power of corporations in this country, so that's what we should be looking at. Campaign finance reform, maybe even some antitrust legislation. Brando's common sense reforms against 1% that everyone can get behind. Antitrust definitely has its supporters across the spectrum, and even get Republicans like Josh Hawley coming out to voice his support. In strange turn of events, he and Bernie seem like they've become best friends, already working on antitrust legislation that they can work with you on. A lot of your wealthier benefactors decide to give you a nice scolding, though. Well, we have a problem here. Nina Turner and a whole host of other nut jobs associated with DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, been engaging a massive ad campaign attacking you for your hedge fund past, especially your firm, Fairlawn Capital's investment in coal mining companies as well as private prisons. As a result, progressives already troubled by your campaign are abandoning your cause in droves and flocking to the Greens. You need to address this quickly. Let's pop up the benefit checker. Yeah, this is the only actually serious one we've seen for a while. You know what? Let's own it. We confirm my firm invested in the issue in the past, but I've changed now. We can do a town hall where I've answered some tough questions and show the people I'm an honest person. I suppose well if the progressives, the online leftists completely abandoned you a while ago, but the more reasonable ones take it pretty well, given how rare it is for a presidential candidate to outright admit they were wrong. And your work on the environment certainly proves you're a changed man. Here we go. Alabama. We're probably not going to win you. Let's work on Kansas. Recently, Donald Trump has been making claims of voter fraud, loudly ranting that the election will be stolen from him. He promises wrath and vengeance. His rhetoric has gone so far that even some of his closest allies, like Chris Christie, have begun to criticize his rhetoric and distance themselves from Trump. Do you want to address this? Well, once a loser, always a loser. He couldn't get over the fact that he lost the popular vote, and now he's scared of losing the whole thing. This is just proof that he knows what we're going to win this in a landslide. The clip of you calling Trump a loser is all over the news, and it causes him to go on extremely disturbing, even by Trump standards, profanity-laden. I assume that's supposed to be rant. Accusing him of being a homosexual communist Chinese asset who hates the country more than Obama ever did. Even Ted Cruz crawls out to make a mild comment criticizing Trump. Well, there we go. The campaign is almost over, Tom. It's time to make your final appeal to the American people. What do you want your final speech to be about? Well, Donald Trump is a crook and a demagogue who has not done a single thing to make America better. He should have been impeached in 2019, but now we have a chance to kick him out of office permanently. You've been screaming about this at every podium, into every microphone, and every auditorium that will take you. It's exhausting. You know you're right. But the Americans know you're right. A part of you just wants it to be over, no matter the outcome. You let yourself become a politician. You've adapted and molded whatever opposes Trump the most. America trusts you. People around the world trust you. You are truly the people's candidate. All right. One more visit into Alabama. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what I've been building up to the whole time. You know how we've had some very, very minor modifiers going against us? Well, I'd like to present to you the massive 0.8% benefit Trump gets in all of these states if we visit them. With the exception of, for whatever reason, oh no, it's like, I don't know, Ohio, sure. Okay. Yeah, look at all this. This is fucking ridiculous. That's... If there's a reason, I'm open to hearing it, but this just looks... This makes no sense to me, personally. Yeah, that just looks terrible. I can't lie. I don't know why there's a 0.08 benefit for Trump right at the end. When we get all these minor benefits or point advantages. All right. Well, we got our final speech. Now it's time to choose where you're actually going to deliver the speech while you're campaigning these last few days. The black vote has always been a key aspect of our campaign. We'll make sure laser focus on winning those key statewide races in Georgia and North Carolina. Maybe stop in Florida with President Obama to finish up the campaign. Make our final address at Selma as a symbolic gesture of sorts. You wish you had President Obama's oracle skills as he fires up the crowd of party's old faithful, the African-American voters across the South, helping out Senate candidates like Doug Jones, Raphael Warnock, and John Ossoff. You finish with your speech to a crowd of cheering supporters in Selma, your running mate proudly by your side. Election has arrived. Settle and wait for the returns, however long it may be. Best of luck. We'll see how much the 0.08 affects us. I'm too lazy to do the math. I wonder if you add up all the pro-Steyer benefits, if that even impacts even marginal, if that even outweighs what we've lost with that. I'm not a big aficionado, but we were close to winning Indiana. Now we've lost it by about 7 points. We've won some of the bigger states, swing states, by decent margins, so I'm not too worried. But I'm curious. 9 points in Pennsylvania. We went from almost being a point away to 6 points in Mississippi. If we win Alabama, if we end up losing Alabama, Yep, we lost it by 2 points, but still. Well, we've won the election, at least. We got Texas. I'm gonna be curious about Kansas and Montana and Utah, actually. Nope. Lost Kansas. I don't know why there's an option to visit Kansas if there's no way you can win it in the normal mod. We didn't even win it on very easy difficulty. We got Alaska. No Bluetah. We didn't even get Florida. My God. Very easy mode. We got South Carolina, though. That's kind of funny. Okay, 396 to 142. That's not bad. The fact that Alabama has such a blue... It's more blue than Missouri or Kansas, technically. That's a little goofy. I can't lie. Anyway. Well, ain't that something, Brett? Martha McCallum awkwardly mutters on Fox News. They couldn't deny it. A big one like this was sent in the House of one by decisive margins. The Obama coalition rebuilt. Hard to deny, you can tell they're doing everything in their power to not stay. It was stolen from Chancellor Trump. The only person screaming that was ripped away from him is, him. Trump is standing on his little hill, screaming about mules, stuffed ballots, the works. But even with all this, the old guard has dropped him. Gingrich, that slob, is talking about how it's over. Risch and Rubio have effectively jumped ship. Him and his diehard supporters like Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz are strangely silent. MAGA seems too scared to pipe up. I guess it's time to make your way to DC or home. You can sleep soundly for now. Enjoy it. Well, let's take a look at the closest states. South Carolina, 2,000 votes. We won by Florida. About 35,000. Not particularly close. Or 25,000. 3,000 Montana. That was pretty close. Alaska, we won by about 2,000. And Utah, about 9,000. We lost by. Iowa was kind of close. 14,000. Not too crazy, though. Overall results, this is a historical one. This is the one we got. No future reading. Well, my friends, that was Actions Speak Louder Than the Words. I hope you all enjoyed it. Mod makers are watching this. I did enjoy the mod. I just have a couple questions about some of the development choices. But, you know, don't be discouraged. The fact that you guys made a mod is more impressive than anything I've ever done. So take some pride in that. Just, you know, feel free to take some notes if you're interested. Anyway, I'm leaving things there. But, as I said to all my California viewers, go out and vote today. Go for it. Please do. In the meanwhile, if you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments or feedback, leave in the comment section below. I read all comments again, and I do appreciate any all feedback you might have for me. If you have any feedback or comment, leave in the comment section below. I just said that. Hit the sub button, notification bell, keep it with these uploads as they come out. And check out my various links on the description box below. That'll be it for now. My name has been Mr. Dogbout333. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye now.